Hello, everybody. My name is Armand, and welcome to Get the Scoop. And today I am joined by,
Hey everyone, my name is Aleem Afzal.
tell me about yourself. How is life as a program manager?
Yeah, so I currently work as a program manager for a software company. And for those that are familiar with the term software as a service, so I work as a software as a service company. There's a lot of companies like that people are familiar with, like Salesforce and Adobe and companies like that. So I work with a company that very much focused on customer experience management software, which, if you don't know what that means, basically, if you take a look at any business, every business has customers and every business has employees. Anytime that a customer or an employee interacts with that business, they have some sort of an experience. It could be a positive experience, it could be a negative experience. And what's valuable for companies is to be able to capture that experience in some way and be able to run analytics and artificial intelligence and do some sort of analysis so they can identify what are the positive aspects about the experience for customers working with doing business with this company, and then also what are the negative experiences as well. And this goes for both customers and employees. So if you shop at a company, let's say Target, you can have a great experience or a bad experience. Well, Target, they have millions of customers shopping with them on a daily basis. So how can you grab everyone's experiences and find the biggest, most challenging experience challenges that you can find? Well, you use software. You use software to do that. So you use software to collect feedback from customers, and then you use software to do analytics and find exactly what it is that you need to know about the experience that your customers are having. So to answer the question, the company that I work for builds software that allows companies to get feedback from their customers and employees at scale. So what I do as a program manager is that I actually have a portfolio of clients. I have about 6 clients that I work with who all have purchased and used our software. And all of these clients, they have different goals of how they want to use our software to capture the customer or the employee experience. So it's my job as a program manager is to understand what are my clients' goals, what do they want to use our software for, and then actually running a series of projects to make sure that they're able to accomplish their goals using our software. So as a program manager, I am responsible for overseeing multiple projects and working with multiple teams to make sure that we can execute on the projects that we identify on a day-to-day basis to ensure that what we build and what we create is helping our clients accomplish their customer experience goals.
Wow, that's really cool. So, on a day-to-day basis, as a program manager, are you that main person that's going out to the people using your programs and like seeing are they satisfied? What are some things that they aren't satisfied with? How can you improve upon that with you and your team?
Yeah, so I am the main point of contact with our customers. So if they have any questions or any issues, or if they have a request that they want to make on how they want to use our software, they will bring that to me. And then it's my job as a program manager is to take a look at that request or take a look at that issue that they bring up and find out, first of all, how important is this request? Is it a high priority? Is it a low priority? I also need to find out if I have all the information that I need to handle this request or to help solve this issue. So part of my job is anytime a customer brings up a problem or a request, I need to make sure I'm asking the right questions to make sure that I have the information needed that will allow me to take that request and do something with it. Either give it to someone on my team to handle, or involve some other third party like a vendor of some kind that's able to handle that request. So I'm like the first point of contact to make sure that I get all the requirements that I need from the customer.
Wow, that's really cool. And I'm sure it's like very intensive and you need a lot of skills. Like, how did you pursue this career and like what schooling did you do?
So it's interesting, Armand. I didn't really study for this. When I was in college, I studied electrical engineering. So that was my field of study. So I did a lot of math, did a lot of science, did a lot of studying, a lot of numbers involved. There was some programming work that I did. So I think Nothing that I really learned in college helped me for the program management job specifically. But what I did learn was how to solve problems, how to be very detail oriented, how to organize information and data, which are all skills that you need to be a successful program manager. So there's a lot of those skills that I learned as a student in college and also throughout my professional career prior to getting a program manager job that allowed me to be successful as a program manager.
All right. And how did you exactly begin to pursue this type of career? Like, what led you to becoming a program manager?
That's a good question. So when I graduated college, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be just an engineer. Like I had a knack for numbers. Even the way that my brain is wired, I'm a very analytical thinker. I like details. I like structure and organization. So engineering and studying engineering was like very simple to me, but I didn't see it as a long-term career of mine. I like the detail and the organization and the technicalities, but I also enjoyed business. I enjoyed solving business problems, doing strategy, talking and working with people and different people from different industries and backgrounds. So I thought to myself, how can I take the engineering world and how can I take the business world and how can I somehow put them together so that I can enjoy doing both aspects of these disciplines. And that's the path that led me down to being a project manager, which is a step below a program manager. I was a business analyst at one point for a different company. And then eventually I became a program manager. So all of these roles involved having some sort of technical, very complicated competency in certain subject areas, but also the ability to communicate with others and share ideas and tell stories and understand business strategy as well. So that is how I would describe my career path when I got out of college, getting exposed to these sort of experiences that led me to becoming a program manager at this current software company.
Wow, it's really cool how you like managed to combine both of those worlds of the stuff you enjoyed and found this career of being a program manager. So, like, what are some of your favorite parts of the job, and what are some of your like least favorite parts of the job?
For sure. What I really like about the job is that I get to interact with so many different types of people. People that worked at companies that I probably would never have worked at, like luxury retail or hospitality or automotive. These are very completely different industries that I didn't think I would have any experience or any exposure in. So that's one of the great aspects of being a program manager and working with software that has a lot of different clients in different industries is that I get exposure to so many different industries and I get to learn the lingo and I get to learn like the different intricacies of that business. Luxury retail is very different than hotels and hospitality. So you get to learn some of these things. The other part about my job that I enjoy is that I get to see projects from start to finish. So most people they only working on one aspect of a project. Like let's say if you're developing an app, right, and you're a software developer, you might just be coding and developing one part of that app, but you don't get to see how the rest of the app is built or how the customer uses it. You're pretty much doing that one part. But as a program manager, I get to see a project literally from the beginning all the way to the end and see how it impacts my clients. So that it gives me kind of a sense of like this, I completed something, like I started something and I finished it, and this is what it did. That I feel like not many jobs have the ability to do. So I enjoy that part about it as well. Now, the things that I don't like as much is the fact that it is very demanding. When I have 6 customers that all have multiple projects that they want to do, one of my biggest challenges is finding out, okay, what is the most important project that I need to work on? What is the biggest priority that I need to focus on for today? Oftentimes priorities will change. Maybe one project is super important now, but then is not important 5 days later, and maybe something new comes along, or maybe something breaks in the software, and we need to address it, and it's pushing back deadlines. So things come up, unexpected things come up. Sometimes I have team members. I work with a lot of different team members, both in the US and in Mexico and in India. And sometimes team members, they don't show up because they're sick or something happens that doesn't allow them to come to work. So then you have to scramble and find substitutes and replacements. So there's a lot of that juggling act that you have to do as well that you don't really plan for, but sometimes they do come up, but you still have to figure out because you still need to deliver work for the clients. So that can be a little stressful for me, which I don't like a whole lot, but it comes with the job, and I've learned how to build resilience towards it.
Wow, so the job comes with a lot of critical thinking, huh? Like a lot of thinking really on the spot how to deal with the situation. It's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah, being able to think on your feet is very important, and make quick decisions, extremely important as well.
And so off the topic, who did you aspire to be at my age? For example, I'm 16.
So funny enough, when I was 16, I actually aspired to be a professional basketball player.
Wow.
I wanted to play basketball. I grew up in New York City, so the team that I really looked up to was the New York Knicks. So I would watch New York Knicks games with my dad, and I even went to a game or two. I would play basketball a lot, quite a bit. So that's actually what I originally wanted to do, which is completely different than what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's so cool how it like kind of changed all throughout your life. You had like this ambition. What made you change your mind exactly? Because I know you went to college for electrical engineering, but what exactly made you go into electrical engineering at first?
Yeah. So with basketball, the only reason why I didn't continue to pursue that is because I never got good enough to the point where I could play for college or that nature. I just didn't put enough practice or put enough of dedication to it. And then also my parents at the time, they had a very different expectations of what they wanted me to do. From where I come from, my parents, they expected me to either become a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. So just to please them, I decided to go down the engineer path because I liked technology, I liked computers, I like to build things, and so I went down that path. So that's how the transition from being a professional basketball player or wanting to be a professional basketball player to being an engineer and then eventually a program manager occurred.
Yeah, and that's cool that you managed to like meet in the middle of what your parents wanted and what you were good at. And then even now you still met in the middle between the two fields that you like with being a program manager. And so we're coming up on the last couple of questions. If there was someone like me that wanted to pursue being a program manager, what advice would you tell them right now?
Yeah. So for someone that wants to be a program manager, I would first ask myself, do I like being organized? Do I like details? Even in my own life, like, do I like to organize things and have structure? Do I keep notes when I study? So ask yourself, are you a detailed oriented person? Because that's very important. The other thing you have to ask yourself is, do you like to take projects that don't have very clear requirements, and do you know how to ask the right questions in order to get the requirements? So I think a spirit of curiosity is also important as well. Like, do you like to ask questions and find out the details about things and like to understand how things work? The other thing that I would advise is, do you like to work with people? Do you like to take a project and not necessarily do it yourself, but understand what a project is and then find people that you know and recognize what they're good at and what they're not good at, and find who can be good at doing this particular task of a project and being able to delegate to them. So being able to understand people and work with them, if that's something that you do already, like you like working with people and you like being able to accomplish things together as a group and not just by yourself, I think those are traits that are very much needed to become a successful program manager.
So once you are like good in all of these traits, what is that first step that these people should be taking in order to pursue this career path?
Absolutely. So I would say the first step is to look into becoming a project manager first. So a project manager, you're just overseeing one project from beginning to end. Whereas a program manager, you're overseeing multiple projects from beginning to end. So there's a lot more variables that are involved. So I would say if you want to step into the path of being a program manager, first get good at being a project manager. So if you could work at a company where you're responsible for one project, maybe even two projects, that will at least help you develop the skills that you need to understand how a project operates from beginning to end. And then you can slowly increase the scope of that and say, okay, I can handle one project. Maybe I can do two. Maybe now I can do three. And then that will slowly expand. And then before you know it, you're a program manager running multiple projects, and you're comfortable working with multiple teams that are extremely different from each other. So that's what I would say if I was starting out, is to look to become a project manager first and then proceed from there.
Wow. So it really is just being a project manager and just constantly evolving your skill until you get to that point of being a program manager. So I'm sure you're pretty proud of yourself and your skill there too, right? Like getting up to that point.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the skill development, first of all. Just being, because it's funny because I work as a program manager and I do project management as well. And I do it for my job, but I also find that I do it in my personal life as well. Like I'm managing my personal projects, and I have my own work that I do on my computer, and I organize it the same way. And I talk in terms of deadlines and scope and deliverables. These are all terminologies that project and program managers use. So I find myself using this terminology and this lingo quite a bit, because I've worked in this field for a handful of years now, and it's just the language of the trade.
Yeah, that's actually funny because my next question was going to be what are some personal benefits you've gained from being a program manager? And so your life has just become more organized, right? I mean, that's basically what you're saying is
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you think about your life, like your life is just a series of projects. You have like a health project, a fitness project. If obviously if you're someone your age, you have homework, you might have extracurricular activities. You might have, you might be planning an event with friends. So within your life, there's multiple different projects that you can look at. And so to be able to think in the frame of a project manager, you can basically organize your life in a very similar way, and you can actually accomplish quite a bit if you see your life in that way and approach it as a project slash program manager.
that's a really cool way to look at life. You're definitely right because everyone has their own like projects that they're going through in life. So, and lastly, any tips and tricks for someone navigating this career space and wanting to become better?
I would say always invest in your own professional development. So I would find resources that will help you become better at project management. Leadership is huge, developing leadership skills, because you are going to be working with a lot of people. Um, Also, being a consultant, learn how to be a good consultant and study resources that help you become good consultants. And then I think one of the biggest things that I feel like has helped me is spending time with other program managers or project managers. Maybe you are sitting in on a project that another program manager is running, and you are able to observe how someone who's already good at it, how they're running their programs, and then you can learn from them as well. So I think a combination of self-study, getting exposure to better program managers, and then also just doing the work itself. A lot of my learning honestly came from actually the experience itself. But I feel like the experience, the knowledge, the education, and then the association with successful project managers and program managers add to the experience that I get by working on my own.
Wow, yeah, definitely an involved field and career field for everything that I've heard today. And I think that'll be it. Thank you so much for being here with me. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this week's Get the Scoop. Be sure to leave any questions you have in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to answer it. Personally, I love this conversation. And Aleem, would you add any last words of wisdom to say to someone that is considering this career path?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, you have to be curious about what you want to pursue as a career. So maybe I said something about program management and maybe it turned you off. So it's like, okay, maybe this is something I don't necessarily want to look into. Or maybe this is something where you weren't considering, but now after this conversation, like, oh, I think I like program management. There's something about being a program manager that rings with me. Whatever that is, I would listen to that instinctual feeling that you have, and let that guide you to decide what career path you end up deciding, because not every career path is for everyone. And I think what's great about career scoops and having these conversations is that you get exposure to the day-to-day life of people in different career fields so that you can decide for yourself, hey, is this a career field that's attractive to me or not? So hopefully you found something in this conversation that is helpful for you to decide whether or not this is a path that you want to go.
And that's great to hear. I mean, you said it yourself. That's what we here at Career Scoops are here to provide for everybody listening and watching this. So, anyways, join us next time to get the scoop.